Steelers Nation, stop everything you're doing right now because what I'm about to tell you could completely reshape the future of Pittsburgh football. We're talking quarterback rumors that have the entire NFL world buzzing, and trust me, these names are going to blow your mind. C.J. Stroud, Malik Willis, Kyler Murray. Yes, you heard that right. NFL insiders are now connecting all of these quarterbacks to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the implications are absolutely massive. If you're a diehard Steelers fan, you cannot afford to miss a single second of this video. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and let's dive into what could be the most important offseason in Steelers history. All right, let's set the stage here because context is everything. The Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves at a crossroads that we haven't seen in decades. For 20 years, this franchise was blessed with stability at the most important position in sports. Ben Roethlisberger gave this organization 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 championship ring on his watch, and countless memories that will live forever in the hearts of Steelers fans everywhere. But Big Ben hung up his cleats, and since then, Pittsburgh has been searching, scrambling, and desperately trying to find that next franchise guy. Kenny Pickett came in with high hopes, the hometown kid from New Jersey who starred at Pitt, the guy who was supposed to be the answer. But let's be real here, Steelers Nation. The results have been mixed at best. The front office isn't sitting around waiting and hoping anymore. They're actively exploring options, and the names being thrown around by NFL insiders right now are nothing short of spectacular. Let's start with the name that's got everyone absolutely losing their minds, C.J. Stroud. Yes, the C.J. Stroud, the same quarterback who walked into the NFL as a rookie and immediately looked like a 10-year veteran, the same guy who took the Houston Texans from laughingstock to playoff contender in a single season. The same signal caller who threw for over 4,000 yards and showed poise, accuracy, and decision-making that we rarely see from players twice his age. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why on earth would the Houston Texans even consider moving C.J. Stroud? He's their golden boy, he's the future of that franchise, and you're absolutely right to be skeptical. But here's the thing about the NFL, folks. Nothing is ever truly off the table. Front offices change, coaching staffs get shuffled, and sometimes situations develop that nobody could have predicted. The insiders connecting Stroud to Pittsburgh aren't saying a trade is imminent. What they're suggesting is that the Steelers have their eyes on the young quarterback and would absolutely pounce if the opportunity ever presented itself. Think about it from Pittsburgh's perspective. You're looking at a generational talent, a guy who has already proven he can handle the bright lights and the pressure of the NFL, a quarterback with elite accuracy, tremendous football IQ, and the kind of leadership qualities that Mike Tomlin absolutely loves. Can you imagine C.J. Stroud in that black and gold jersey, throwing dimes to George Pickens down the sideline, commanding the huddle at Acrisure Stadium with 70,000 fans going absolutely crazy? The thought alone is enough to make any Steelers fan weak in the knees. Now, would it take an absolute king's ransom to pry Stroud away from Houston? Absolutely. We're probably talking multiple first-round picks, maybe some young players thrown in, the whole 9 yards. But the Steelers have draft capital, they have assets, and more importantly, they have a desperate need at the position. The fan reaction to this rumor has been incredible to watch. Social media is on fire with Steelers supporters debating whether this is even remotely possible. Some fans are already designing mock jerseys and creating highlight reels of what Stroud could do in Pittsburgh's offense. Others are being more cautious, reminding everyone that Houston would be insane to let their young franchise quarterback walk out the door. But that's what makes this offseason so exciting, isn't it? The possibilities feel endless. Now, let's talk about a name that's a little more realistic but equally intriguing, Malik Willis. This is a guy that Steelers fans should be paying very close attention to because the connection here is undeniable. Willis was a third-round pick by the Tennessee Titans back in 2022, and the expectations were sky high. He was supposed to be the athletic freak who could make plays with his legs and his arm, the next generation of mobile quarterback who could transform an offense. But things didn't exactly go according to plan in Tennessee. Willis found himself buried on the depth chart, stuck behind Ryan Tannehill, and then dealing with a complete organizational overhaul when the Titans decided to blow things up. The playing time was limited, the opportunities were scarce, and before long, Willis was looking like one of those what-could-have-been stories that we see too often in the NFL. Here's where it gets interesting for Pittsburgh. The Steelers' coaching staff has a history of developing quarterbacks. Mike Tomlin is known for getting the most out of his players, and offensive coordinator Matt Canada's replacement could bring a fresh perspective that maximizes Willis's unique skill set. Willis has elite athleticism. We're talking about a guy who ran a 4.47 40-yard dash at his pro day. He has a cannon for an arm. The raw tools are absolutely there. What Willis needs is the right environment. He needs a coaching staff that believes in him, a system that plays to his strengths, and most importantly, he needs reps. Real game reps where he can learn and grow and develop into the player everyone thought he could be when he came out of Liberty. Could Pittsburgh be that place? The insiders certainly think so. The cost to acquire Willis would be significantly lower than someone like Stroud. We might be talking about a mid-round pick, maybe even a late rounder, depending on how desperate Tennessee is to move on. It's a low-risk, high-reward type of move that organizations like the Steelers absolutely love. You're not mortgaging the future. You're not giving up premium assets. You're simply taking a flyer on a talented young player who needs a change of scenery. And let's be honest here, Steelers Nation, the upside with Malik Willis is tantalizing. Picture this offense with a quarterback who can extend plays with his legs, who can turn a broken pocket into a 20-yard scramble, who can keep defenses honest with his running ability while also pushing the ball downfield. That's the kind of dynamic playmaking that Pittsburgh hasn't had at quarterback in a very long time. But we're not done yet. There's one more name on this list, and it might be the most controversial of all. Kyler Murray, the former #1 overall pick, the guy who signed a massive contract extension with the Arizona Cardinals, the dual-threat quarterback who has dazzled and frustrated fans in equal measure throughout his NFL career. Murray's situation in Arizona has been, well, complicated. The Cardinals have been in rebuilding mode. The roster around him has been inconsistent at best. And then there was the ACL tear that cost him significant time and raised questions about his long-term durability. But make no mistake about it, when Kyler Murray is healthy and locked in, he's one of the most electric players in the entire league. The arm talent is undeniable. Murray can make throws that very few quarterbacks in the NFL can even attempt. The deep ball, the intermediate routes, the touch passes over the middle, he has the full arsenal. And then you add in his running ability, which might be the best among all starting quarterbacks in the league, and you're looking at a player who can absolutely take over games when everything is clicking. So why are insiders connecting Murray to the Steelers? Well, there are a few factors at play here. First, Arizona might be looking to go in a different direction. The new regime might want their own guy, their own quarterback to build around. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a team move on from a highly paid quarterback to start fresh. Second, Murray might be interested in a change of scenery himself. Playing for a storied franchise like Pittsburgh with a Hall of Fame caliber coach in Mike Tomlin could be incredibly appealing. The fit from a football perspective is fascinating to think about. Murray's ability to create plays outside of structure would give opposing defensive coordinators nightmares. He could turn George Pickens into an absolute monster with his ability to extend plays and find the big play downfield. The Steelers' defense is already elite, so they don't need Murray to be perfect. They just need him to make enough plays to win games, and that's something Kyler Murray is absolutely capable of doing. Now, the concerns are real, and we should address them. Murray's contract is enormous. The injury history is a legitimate worry, and there have been questions about his leadership and commitment at various points in his career. These aren't things that the Steelers' front office would take lightly. Art Rooney, too, and company do their homework. They dig into character. They talk to people. If they were to make a move for Kyler Murray, you can bet they would have done their due diligence 10 times over. The analytics community is split on Murray. Some see him as an undervalued asset, a player whose numbers have been dragged down by poor supporting casts and organizational dysfunction in Arizona. Others view him as a player who has reached his ceiling, someone who might never quite live up to that #1 overall pick status. The truth, as is usually the case, probably lies somewhere in the middle. What we do know is that the Steelers are in the market. They're making calls. They're exploring options. And the fact that names like CJ Stroud, Malik Willis, and Kyler Murray are being connected to Pittsburgh tells you everything you need to know about how serious this organization is about finding their next franchise quarterback. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this means for the bigger picture. The AFC North is a bloodbath right now. You've got the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, a former MVP who is playing at an absolutely elite level. The Cincinnati Bengals have Joe Burrow, who already has a Super Bowl appearance on his resume and is widely considered one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. Even the Cleveland Browns, despite their issues, have invested heavily in the quarterback position. For the Steelers to compete in this division, for them to truly contend for championships like they've done throughout their storied history, they need a quarterback who can go toe-to-toe with these guys. They need someone who can win shootouts when necessary, who can lead game-winning drives in January, who can elevate the entire roster around them. That's the standard. That's what Pittsburgh is searching for. The fan base is electric right now. Social media is absolutely buzzing with debates about which quarterback would be the best fit. You've got the CJ Stroud truthers who say you go get the best player available, cost be damned. You've got the Malik Willis believers who love the idea of a reclamation project with a lead upside. And you've got the Kyler Murray camp who think his proven production and dynamic playmaking ability is exactly what Pittsburgh needs. And honestly, all of these perspectives have merit. This isn't a situation where there's one obvious answer. Each of these quarterbacks brings something different to the table. Each of them has strengths that could translate beautifully in Pittsburgh, and each of them has question marks that would need to be addressed. What excites me most about this situation is the aggression from the Steelers' front office. For years, Pittsburgh has been known as an organization that builds through the draft, that develops players internally, that doesn't make splashy moves in free agency or via trade. But the quarterback position is different. You cannot afford to be patient at quarterback. You cannot afford to waste years of a championship-caliber defense while you figure things out under center. Mike Tomlin isn't getting any younger. This roster is built to win now. The pieces are in place on defense. The offensive weapons are there with guys like George Pickens, Najee Harris, and Pat Freiermuth. All that's missing is the guy who can tie it all together, the quarterback who can take this team to the promised land. Looking ahead, the next few months are going to be absolutely critical. The NFL Combine is coming up. Free agency will reshape the landscape. The draft will provide opportunities. And throughout all of it, the Steelers will be working behind the scenes, making calls, evaluating options, and preparing to make their move. Could we see a blockbuster trade that sends shockwaves through the league? It's absolutely possible. Could the Steelers swing a deal for a young quarterback with untapped potential? That's on the table, too. The point is, nothing is off limits. Pittsburgh is open for business, and they're ready to be aggressive in ways we haven't seen from this franchise in years. This is the time to be a Steelers fan, folks. The uncertainty at quarterback might seem scary, but it also represents opportunity, the chance to add a transformative player, the chance to set this franchise up for the next decade, the chance to return to the glory days of Super Bowl contention and championship parades. So what do you think, Steelers Nation? Which quarterback would you want to see in the black and gold? Are you dreaming big with C.J. Stroud? Taking a chance on Malik Willis? Rolling the dice with Kyler Murray? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from every single one of you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel because we're going to be covering every single development in this story as it unfolds. You don't want to miss a thing. Hit that bell icon so you get notified the moment we drop new content. Share this video with your fellow Steelers fans because trust me, they're going to want to hear about this. The future of Pittsburgh Steelers football is being written right now, and you're watching it happen in real time. Stay tuned, stay hyped, and as always, go Steelers!